Coming at you all today for a quick Mindset Monday to kick off the week in the right state of mind and ultimately close more sales, because today's topic is on sales mindset and particularly on objections. So as we dive into today, if you're watching and joining me live on this Mindset Monday, be sure to drop a hashtag live below. Let me know. If you're watching the replay, be sure to drop a hashtag replay below and let me know. Missed you all last week on my Mindset Monday. I was pretty sick for the majority of the last week itself. I'm about 85, 90% better now. Still have a little bit of things going on, a little bit of congestion, but overall, I'm here. So I apologize if I cough throughout the video, but I'm here and I'm going to keep things short and sweet on this topic to deliver for you guys a training that I think will be really helpful and a talk behind this that I think will really open your eyes towards objections within sales conversations. So I always love to illustrate trainings like this with a mind map and with a visual example that you can see, so you can actually look at the big picture behind all of this. So what I'm going to do right now is share my screen for this Mindset Monday in particular, so we can use this as we chat through things. So I'm going to talk more on these two blocks in a second. But to intro into this, on the topic of objections, how many of you have ever felt like you get objections frequently within conversations in Messenger, on sales calls, and it frustrates you when you get them? If you get objections often, or if you've gotten any objections before, drop a hashtag objections below or comment me below and let me know. Pull myself up here so you can see me on camera too. There we go. So what you don't realize is that you're really not always getting objections. What you're getting is actual questions that you need to be in tune to and actually listen to handle correctly. Because a lot of times all objections are basically the other person showing you as the salesperson in the instance, or the person presenting the offer, that they're not clear on what this will look like for them, or they're not clear on how this will benefit them. So it's your job to identify how you can illustrate that in the most simplified way possible so they can see the big picture and ultimately be ready to jump in with you and work with you. But I think a lot of times when we get an objection, we get frustrated and we start combating it by fighting back and saying things that pretty much attack the other person and lead to no sale itself. So you're going to have instances where this person let's say that in this example, you have these are both one person. So they're at their current situation now, the person that you're speaking to on a sales call or in a messenger sales conversation, and they want to get to this point. Now, it's always important to have context on what they've done leading into this point. Because maybe right now they have invested a lot in the past. Let me move my microphone here. So you probably have heard this before. They've made multiple investments and nothing has worked. So this is a very difficult one to get through, because you may get to the end of this call or the end of this messenger conversation. You figure out where they're at, where they want to go. You feel that you actually have a really strong solution to getting them there. You present that solution. They agree and they feel the same way. Man, this is exactly what I need. I know that what you're providing here is awesome, but the timing isn't right. Now, that one objection alone, the timing isn't right. If it's the instance of this example where they made multiple investments and nothing has worked, it's likely the case. To me, that's more on them than it is for you to actually be able to combat that. Because all you can do from your point of view and your perspective is to get them to open their eyes and see that they're putting themselves in a position to fail by telling themselves that. So if they continue to tell themselves everything that I've invested in the past didn't work, and the timing isn't right now because funds are a little bit tight, or because this is going on, or because that's going on, those are the people that never actually get to their goals because they always have an excuse. But the reality is the timing will never be perfect. The timing is never going to be just the way you want it to make the decision. So it's up for you or the person making that decision itself to realize that, hey, if I feel this can actually benefit me, then I need to take this chance and run with it because I know it will lead to that much more momentum and that much more growth in my business. And it will get me out of this current situation and get me to this desired situation. But they're going to fight like hell to not see that and not do that because they're comfortable staying here and comfortable telling themselves nothing worked or nothing has worked. And I'm just going to keep trying to figure out what I'm currently doing now to make that work. So without you coming to them and saying it's a shitty mindset or interrogating them for thinking that way, how can you ask questions and provide more value to bridge that gap and show them that what you're offering is the most efficient path possible to get them from their current situation to their desired situation? Because that's all they want to see. But right now, they think that what you're offering does this. They may know it gets them to this point, but the fear inside of them, because of what they've done in the past, it doesn't look like a straight line approach to where they want to go. They may know you're a good person. They may know you put out great content. They may know that you're putting them on a really strong path of what you offered, but something internally within them isn't sold because of what's happened in the past. And not always is the person trying to sell the offer itself, will you be able to get them to see that and get them to jump in. But what you can do is empower them to think about the big picture behind all of this and empower them to actually make a strong decision for themselves based on what will actually be the most beneficial to them, fear aside and everything else aside. So how can you bridge the gap to handle this objection? By showing them that this is the most efficient way possible. Number one, you ask questions. Number two, you provide value. Number three, you focus on actually letting the coaching begin on the sales call. I had a client last week on Friday that messaged me that was just getting into sales calls. He wanted to implement sales calls within his strategy. He had taken little to no calls ever before, and he had 3 calls booked on Friday. And he sent me a message and he said, Blake, I have 3 calls with 3 really qualified and hot prospects. How can I make the most of these calls and land a sale? And I sent him back a 60-second audio. Within those 60 seconds, I said, number one, know that by you getting these calls booked with these prospects, you already won. So disconnect from the result of the call itself. Whether they say yes or no, that doesn't matter. You may not always have control over that, but you, by putting yourself in this situation or the position to land a sale, you've already made money, you've already won. So go into it with the mindset of the fact that you've already won and made money. Number 2, be yourself. And I gave him a simple 6-question sales framework that I give my clients that are new to sales calls to help them get an understanding on what the most important questions are to ask. Because I know that if I gave him a script that was 3 pages long and said, implement this today in your 3 calls, he would immediately go into overwhelm mode and think, I need to master this 3-page script, follow it to a T because that's the only way I'm going to make sales happen. But it's not the case. And if I would have gave him that 3-page script, he would have went on to the call. He would have been robotic. The person would have known that he was following a script. He would have said things that didn't sound like him, and he wouldn't have made any sales. But I told him to disconnect from the result, remind yourself that you already won. Implement this simple 6-question framework. Focus on asking these questions itself. And above anything else, focus on letting the coaching begin on the sales call. Not selling, but letting the coaching begin on the sales call itself. Showing them that you actually care about where they're at and where they want to go. Providing value to them on actually getting from that current situation to that desired situation. And helping visually bridge the gap for them so they can see exactly what it looks like to go from where they're at to where they want to go itself. He took what I told him in that 60-second audio. He took that 6-question framework. He made it his own and applied it. He sent me a message literally 3 hours later on that Friday and said, I just landed a $2,500 sale. Thank you so much for what you said to me. It completely transformed my approach going into the call. And I felt more like myself on a call than I ever have before. And that's all it took. But the moment we operate in scarcity and sales mode, everything goes the opposite direction. When you get an objection, you start to fight that objection and come back at them and say things that you think are actually helping you with the objection, but in reality, it's just pushing them away further. The big thing to keep in mind with sales is that if I say it, you doubt it. If you're on a sales call with me and I tell you that your system's broken, you will likely doubt it because you're not saying it yourself. But if you say it, I know that you're owning up to it because you actually are being at the point where you're self-admitting it. So how can you bridge the gap by asking questions, by genuinely speaking to that person to get them to actually come to you and self-admit and say, you know what, this is actually what's going on with me. This is what I'm feeling right now. Or in this example, I have fear because I've invested in all these things in the past and nothing's worked. That's when you can really start having deeper conversations that lead to sales and actually open up that relationship to support them in getting from their current situation to their desired situation. So, with all that said, on this topic, I know that many of you probably saw that I rolled out a workshop this week, or actually at the end of last week, I'm sorry. And I rolled it out specifically towards this group in particular first because I wanted to give you guys first access because it's only for 15 people. Now, I'm not taking sales calls for this workshop. I have a full breakdown that I'm extending to people in Messenger that I feel it's a fit for. And I know that many people will come back and say, I need this, I want this, I want to be a part of this, but the timing isn't right. Now, at my point in my journey, all I can do is I can send one message and try to identify why they feel that way and illustrate to them how it will benefit them. If they still come to me and say the timing isn't right, to me, that's on them and their loss and not on me. Because my goal with this workshop isn't to take your money and to make a bunch of money. My goal with this workshop is to earn your trust and ultimately help you make a lot more money than the money that you're putting into the workshop itself. Because I know that what I'm teaching in this workshop will be the most powerful workshop and the most applicable workshop for anybody that takes it. Because it's the foundation to business. If you don't have qualified leads, if you're not generating qualified sales opportunities and you're not landing sales, you don't have a business. But if I can step in and share with you a proven framework that I've used to make that happen over and over and over again, without spending hours a day in Messenger, without spending time with unqualified prospects and dealing with objections like this one that we have on the screen here, that's a tough one to get past, then I'm putting you in a position to win. And that's really all I want out of this workshop. For the 15 people that join it, I want to help them 10x what they put into it. Because I know that what I'm teaching has the power to do that. And all you have to do is show up and apply it. But many people will stay on the fence and say, I just invested in this a couple months ago, or I need to make this work first. And that's up to them if they choose to sit back on it and not take advantage of the opportunity. But this gives you a lens in towards my thought process behind making the sale happen with this. I'm not connected to the sale. I don't care either way whether somebody jumps into this workshop or whether they don't. I'm simply there to make sure that the workshop is a good fit for them, offer it to them if it is, and if they have an objection or a question that may be holding them back and jumping into it, I'll try to see if I can't help clear that up for them, but if I can't, so be it. Because at the end of the day, they're holding themselves back more than anything else. They're allowing fear of investments in the past that didn't work out for them to not jump in on this and take advantage of it. And those are the people that never, ever achieve their goals with their online business. Because they always stay stuck in the past and they're always thinking about the door open behind them rather than thinking about how can I open the next door in front of me to create new opportunities, to build momentum, and to get away from where I'm at and to get to where I want to go. So on the topic of the workshop, I'm not here to sell you on that or to even talk about that. It just kind of flowed into this topic well. So if you want to learn more about this, if you want to see if it's a good fit for you, comment, post to close below. I'll send you the full breakdown on exactly how it will benefit you, exactly who it's for. And if you have any questions or any objections, you can ask me. I'm there to help you clear those up. But going into it, if any of you do look at that, ask yourself first, when I look at this, if I feel it could actually benefit me, if I say no, am I actually putting myself in a position to succeed, or am I actually just saying no out of fear because of what's happened in the past? And same goes for the prospects that you speak to. I know how much it frustrates you when you have someone that you've spoken to that's in a bad spot or they're not where they want to be. You're showing them something that can get them to where they want to go. You know it will really benefit them from the bottom of your heart. They know it will benefit them from the bottom of their heart as well, but they're still saying the timing isn't right, or I have to speak to my significant other, or I have to do this, I have to do that. When that happens, what you need to do is step back, listen, and actually listen to what they say. Bridge the gap by trying to get to the bottom of what they mean behind that. Provide value on it, show them how it will actually benefit them with that value itself, and let them see the big picture. So they're not losing sight on what this really is that you're talking about just because of the sticker price they see on the surface. Because a lot of times people let their entire decision be skewed just because of the price that they see. So when it comes to handling objections on calls and messenger combos, this is also something I'm going to be going deep in on the workshop, and how to read signals, because there's really 3 common scenarios that you're going to see when you get to the end of a messenger conversation on exactly how to handle it. Once you're able to read these 3 scenarios, which I'll be talking about in the workshop, you'll know exactly how to move that conversation next and what to say next to put yourself in a position to actually open up that relationship and land the sale. But if you say one wrong thing in that instance, you're pushing them completely away and repelling them further, and the opportunity is gone. So in the meantime, right now, what you can do is remind yourself that by having the opportunity of presenting an offer, or after presenting the offer itself, you already won because you put yourself in a position to land the sale. Now, how can you disconnect from the result further? Step back and ask yourself, what questions can I ask to see where this person's coming from? And how can I bridge the gap and let the coaching begin on the call or in this messenger conversation to illustrate to them how this will actually benefit them and get them to their desired situation? That doesn't mean emphasizing more of the bonuses that you're giving. Doesn't mean talking about all the information that's included. It means focusing less on the information and more about how you can help them achieve the transformation that they want. So that's a wrap for today's Mindset Monday on objections and fear and sales as a whole. Hopefully y'all got some benefit from that today. If you got value from it, be sure to drop a hashtag value below and let me know. And I hope you all have